everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you're here, and I hope this video finds you doing well. I thought we'd do a little something different in regards to motivation, and I hope that you'll find it to be interesting and fun and helping to give you that uplifting element of motivation whenever needed. Now, I find it very intriguing to really kind of take apart all the elements that are beneficial in increasing our motivation and really zoning in on those particulars in order to keep us motivated. And if you may not have already seen, I did do a previous video on an element that I think is important in keeping up your motivation, and that would be in our positive dialogue, our positive speak. So if you haven't had an opportunity to take a look-see at that video, I do hope that after this video, you'll go back and take a look at it. I hope that you'd find that to be just as helpful as well. So, in the nature for today's video, what I'm going to do is I actually did a look search on some popular questions that tend to be ones that may be great for considering when you're looking at how to continue with your motivation. So I actually came across some questions that I thought would be interesting to kind of go through. And the website that I took this off from is called Life Coach Directory. And I actually will leave the link in the description box below, so that way you can actually go back there yourself and take some time to look at those questions and look at some of the answers that were shared, and find ways to utilize that as a tool for yourself as well. So why don't we go ahead and get started? The first question is a very good question, and it is, what are my reasons for wanting to achieve my goal? Well, that's a great question, I think, because I feel that it's important to understand your why. Why are you doing this? Why is this important? How is this going to better serve you and your life's goal, your life's mission, your life's purpose? How is it going to make things better for you? How is it going to help you get to the next level for something else? So remembering your why is pretty important. There's so many instances where we kind of get pulled away from whatever our goal may be because we are, living everyday lives, and there's things that happen and, sometimes take us off track a little bit. And remembering our why is a great way to kind of refocus ourselves back on those goals. And I just think it's important to just remember that. Number 2 is, what steps do I need to take to move closer to my goal? Well, that's a natural good question, actually. You really do need to assess how it is and what it is that you need to do in order to move to the achievement of whatever that objective is. Sometimes when we look at a goal in its totality, sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming. So if that is the case, you may want to look at how you would sit down and achieve these tasks, and then breaking them down into a smaller task in order to kind of go step by step into achieving that goal. So that's pretty important. I think when you are managing your expectations of how to get to that goal, it doesn't always matter or identify itself as just being whether you can achieve it or not. So that's just about how you go about achieving it, and sometimes it may take a little bit longer to do it, and sometimes you'll be surprised of the speed when you really do carefully look at the task and the things that you will need to do in order to get yourself to the point of obtaining that objective and achieving that goal. Now, number 3 asks, what would be the consequences of not being motivated to achieve my goal? Well, that's another good question, because, sometimes motivation can be obviously positive, but sometimes negative in the sense of what the result would be if you didn't achieve that goal can be just as a motivator. So it's kind of like taking a negative and making it into a positive, if you will. Sometimes the fear of not achieving that goal and what that would mean for you is a great uplifting element to use to power yourself through to achieving that goal. Sometimes when we come across fears and stuff, and we don't want to get stuck in that space because we know we need to make a move. We know it's time for us to do what we need to do. So you kind of got to get comfortable with that. And sometimes that can be difficult to do. So when that happens, you may look at, well, you know what, if I don't do this goal, if I don't achieve this objective, what does that mean for me? Am I going to be stuck in this type of positioning, which is, a real good example could be like a particular job that you may have. I want to be able to do different things and see different things and help in different ways. How am I going to be able to do that if I stay in this particular space? So maybe looking at what can happen, or the effects that can happen of not achieving a goal, can be just as much of a powerful motivator as being okay with doing that goal in the first place. Next question is, what stops or reduces my motivation? Oh, that's quite insightful. I think it's good to take a look at those things and be aware of those things. I look at those things as obstacles, sometimes barriers. And I want to make sure that I am, when I'm critically thinking about how I'm going to move forward and strategically taking those intentional steps to making forward, I want to kind of look at what maybe could be some of those areas of concern, and how I can may go about handling those things so I can keep myself motivated. Positive speak, like I shared in a previous video, is a really good one to kind of re-empower myself to, to make sure that I know that I can do this, and I just need to go ahead and make that step. So I think it's good to look at those things that may stop you and from being motivated, and look at ways to kind of counteract that so you can stay on that track. Next question is, what obstacles or barriers may I face that will sabotage my motivation? It's another good question, because, life still moves on, right? We don't always have the beauty to focus solely on one thing without having other things that we have to attend to. So being aware of the fact of those things, where it could just be minor things like just your mindset, which may not be so minor, but I'm just looking at perspectives that are not maybe physical barriers that kind of stop you, physical things that you may have to do that can stop you. It could just be the things that you say to yourself that can stop you. So understanding that could be in place sometimes, you want to, again, look at ways to mitigate those, and making sure that you have your goals set out for yourself and the tasks that you're going to do is a really good way. So, obviously, if you jot down some of those tasks and kind of check them off as you go along, that can kind of help to get you around some of those pitfalls that you may run into that could sabotage your achieving that goal altogether. Next is, let's see, how can I overcome those obstacles? And again, there's multiple ways of doing that. If there is a situation that may require some additional research on how to get to achieve that goal, you might want to do that. If there is a particular skill set that you need to enhance, you may want to go ahead and look at ways to do that. If fear is an issue, you want to maybe take a look at really the validity of that fear and look at ways to try to counteract that fear, or to address those issues that are fear so they can no longer be part of the situation. So, I often would say, when you look at barriers, you got to find ways to get around them and go over them or go under them. And sometimes you just have to go right through them. Sometimes you just have to face what that fear is and handle it step by step and get to that other side. So, when you're overcoming those barriers, it's important and it's necessary in order for you to get to that point. So you need to be looking at, how can I go about beefing up that, confidence as I'm going through those different steps, so I can, when I get to that barrier, I can find a way to get around that barrier. Next question would be, what habits can I create to increase my motivation? And that's a really good one. So basically, all those great, wonderful things that you do to keep you motivated, you want to keep doing those. That's kind of how I see that. If I need to take a little bit of time to handle certain things, then I may need to adjust my day, create a schedule that allows me to take a little bit of time each day to address certain things for that particular task. So that would be a good habit, making sure that it is a key focus for what needs to be done, and don't let yourself get too sidetracked. Again, life does happen, so you might have to make adjustments, but I think if you're flexible and understand that you may have to look at things at a different perspective at times, that can be helpful. So when you are looking to increase those positive habits in order to move forward, you'll see that will be easier to do when you take the time to really make it a focus, make it an important element, a thing to do. Because of course, certain goals require many steps to get to the completion of that goal. So if you just take that time, a little bit each day, to focus on that would really be a good habit to help. If you have a work schedule, for instance, that requires you to work most of the day, then if you could take some time in the evening before you go to bed, whatever it is, to focus on just that particular task and goal, that can be a good habit. Or if you have to wake up a little bit early in the morning for something that you might have to accomplish in order to get a little bit closer to that goal, you might want to do that as well. Next question is, what tangible reminders do I need to see to stay motivated? Now, this is a really good one because I know that I personally utilize tangible items quite often. And it could be in forms of many ways. One that I find is really helpful is, like, if there's certain sayings or anything that might be, I find positive to kind of keep me motivated to keep going, I'll write those down and have them somewhere where I can see it. Sometimes you get, like I said, so busy and caught up with your day-to-day life, and you can get frustrated in some issues that may happen through those things. It happens. And if I need something to kind of just key me off of that, I'll look at that, saying, or that whatever I wrote down to myself, and I'll remember there's, I got another out. I need to just focus on that. It's going to be okay. I'm going to get there. We're going to get through this situation because I got things I got to do, right? I got a goal to achieve over here. So, so I found that to be helpful. Another way of that I think is tangible, supporting, is seeing myself in that goal, seeing myself already achieving that particular accomplishment, kind of walking the walk, if you will, in my vision. And I see that as a tangible thing to kind of look at, because it kind of plays like a little movie in my head, and I stay focused pretty well on that. So I think that's really helpful. If you're into vision boards, cutting out things that represent those things that you're working towards, I think that's a great way to stay focused on something, because you can see those things, or a variation of those things. So I think that's pretty helpful too. So yeah, I think that vision boards are great. I think focusing on seeing yourself in that particular goal is great. And I think that writing down quotes, writing down sayings that are associated with that are also beneficial. Even if it's something to say, look, this is temporary, what you're going through right now. That could just be a simple saying like that. This is temporary. We've got a goal that we're going to be achieving. We're going to be out of here. This is temporary. So that's also, I think, pretty helpful when you are looking for tangible ways, to stay motivated towards your objectives, and your goals that you have set forth. Next, we have, who can support me? Now, this is a good one. All these questions are really good, actually. But it is good because I think it's important that we are careful of those that we have around us. And I think it's important to take inventory at times to ensure that, that there's great benefit on both parts for having, certain individuals in your life. I think that having individuals who uplift you and individuals that really see and want the best for you and can speak to that and encourage you in that way is extremely helpful. I think those who, take the time to check in on you, maybe, check in on you in an accountable way. How are you going with that goal? How are you going with that achievement? What's going on? Is there anything I can do to help you get to that goal? I think that having individuals around you that can support you in that effort is quite exhilarating and quite uplifting and helping you get to that goal. Sometimes it may be resources that they may be able to assist you with. And if that's the case, I think that's great as well, but just taking a focus of, and I always think it's important to do an inventory of that anyways, of the people that are around you that support you, and do that in ways that are helpful to you, so that way you can be achieving what you need to achieve, I think is truly crucial. So yeah, that's a pretty good question. And I think sometimes, we may forget about that. Part of when you have certain individuals around you, you want to make sure that, there's a positive energy that exudes, because that keeps you motivated, and it can also demotivate you if not, communicate it correctly. So it's just helpful. I mean, we all have, bad days. We all have things and challenges in life that we have to go through. So I'm not saying that you cut out people out of your life just because, they may have a bad day and that's not working for you. But just, people that really genuinely have an interest in you, and you have a genuine interest in them. I think it's a great way to have individuals who will support you and who believe in you as well. But always remember that you yourself need to believe in yourself, right? You don't need anyone to validate you and your worth, because you are worthy, period, in discussion. That's just the way it is. It's just looking at, when you look at individuals who bring positivity to your life and encouragement to your life, it's just really great and can be so uplifting and can make you feel really good in so many ways, and help you keep going and stay motivated. So yeah, really looking at who supports you and how they support you, I think is a pretty important question to ask yourself. And see, last question. Oh, wow. These are so good questions. I really enjoyed answering these. See, the last one I have here is, how will I reward myself? Well, isn't that something? Because sometimes it's not just the goal itself of achievement that's the only reward that can be given to yourself. I mean, come on, give yourself a pat on the back, because look what you did. I mean, you did that, all right? Okay, you achieved that. You stayed on task. You should be rewarded for that. And I think that it's kind of great to just maybe do something that you enjoy. So for me personally, I may, partake in a nice little cocktail for enjoyment. Sometimes I just really just, pray and a huge gratitude and thanks to the Almighty, and help me get through all those things that I need to get through in achieving that goal. Sometimes it's also in tangent, talking to friends and just, seeing individuals in a safe manner, because, things are a little different right now. So be open on that front, be mindful of that, but just, gosh, I mean, honestly, just finding something fun that I like to do. I mean, sometimes I just kind of just watch a rewarding movie or something that doesn't require me to really think much, but I can just enjoy and I can laugh and just, feel good in that moment. I make that a reward for myself. Sometimes, there was times, I go buy myself something. I don't know. It just depends on what it is and how I'm feeling. But whatever it is going to be something that I enjoy, and that's going to just make me smile and feel like, hey, you really did that. And it's good to celebrate. It's good to celebrate ourselves, right? It's okay to do that. Sometimes people get, a little nervous about celebrating ourselves. And then you got some that celebrate yourself a little too much. I don't know. But anyways, it's just important to reward yourself in ways that are fun and really just kind of put that little icing on the cake for you. And I just think that's good. And I think we should really stay focused in remembering that you do have to reward yourself, right? Because, hard work should be rewarded. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little different. But again, I just thought it was kind of fun because, when you take such a big concept like motivation and break it down into bite-sized little pieces, if you will, and kind of explore different areas, it really does help you to, I think, kind of pull from that toolbox, if you will. And you hear me say that a lot because I think that's really important to kind of carry this little proverbial toolbox around with you, with all the things that help you keep going through life, because, things can be difficult and challenging at times, and sometimes you need a little bit of help there, and it's just nice to have. So I do think these are really good questions when you are really assessing a goal, and even if it's something that, if you even really should be doing. I mean, really working in your purpose and working in the mission of what is you should be doing and innately, strongly feel that you should be doing is a pretty powerful thing. So, really taking inventory of your goal and how it's going to benefit and what you're looking out of it to do for you and to do for others, it's pretty important. So, we should take those times, just like you evaluate a goal in specific, as far as if they're achievable type goals, you really need to kind of take a strategic look at how you can go about achieving that, so you don't get burnt out before you get to that end. Some goals sometimes take more energy than others, and I think that if you do a real nice inventory of why you're doing this and what are the things that can maybe be a barrier to you that you need to get across, and how would you look at doing things and putting things in place that will remind you of those goals, and also then how are you going to celebrate that. I think those are all wonderful ways of bolstering and uplifting you in a way to stay motivated. So, as always, I do hope that this video was helpful to you. And if content like this is helpful for you and you enjoy it, I do hope that you'll give this video a like. And I also hope you consider joining the Motivation Suite community and subscribing to this video. And I just am so glad that you are here, and so glad you gave a little bit of time of your day for me. And I hope this is beneficial. Remember, the link for the questions that I went over in today's video will be provided in the description box. So you should take a look out there and, maybe ask those questions for yourself. I think it's always great to just always have something there to help and assist in whatever it is that you're trying to do and trying to achieve. Because bottom line is, when you're achieving and doing things, you are progressing, and, life is always better that way. So I hope that you have a great rest of your week, and I hope you enjoy your weekend, and I'm so looking forward again to seeing you next week. So you stay safe, and until then, stay motivated. Bye.